Picture this. You're cruising down the highway, minding your own business. Maybe you've got music on. Maybe you're thinking about what you're eating for dinner. When a brand new, gleaming pickup slides into your lane like it owns the entire road. Lifted stance, aggressive headlights, chrome everywhere. A grille the size of a studio apartment. Tires that look like they were designed to climb Everest. Leather seats that probably cost more than your monthly rent. And your brain does the same thing mine does every single time. Who is paying for that? Because let's be honest, half the time, the driver looks like a normal person with a normal job. And yet they're piloting a vehicle that costs more than the median household income. Meanwhile, that same person is also the one saying, "Man, groceries are insane right now." Like they didn't just sign up for a payment that could fund a small country. So what's the deal? Are people secretly rich? Did everyone get a raise except you? Are we all living in some parallel universe where money doesn't matter anymore? Or is there something else going on, something behind the scenes that makes a $900 monthly car payment feel totally fine in the moment, until it's very much not fine? Welcome back. My name's Ben, and I spend an unreasonable amount of time studying money habits, consumer psychology, and the weird financial choices humans make when shiny objects are involved. Today we're cracking the code behind the modern mystery. How are regular people affording insane car payments? And why is it quietly messing up their future for the next 7 to 10 years? And if you've ever wondered how your neighbor can afford a $70,000 truck while complaining about gas prices, you're going to want to stick around. Because this is one of those things where once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's the uncomfortable truth right up front. The payment isn't the price. Most people don't buy cars based on the price of the car. They buy cars based on the price of the monthly payment. And that little shift in mindset, small on the surface, completely rewires the entire purchase. If I told you, hey, want to spend $80,000 on transportation over the next few years? You'd probably laugh in my face. You'd be like, Ben, are you okay? Do you need to lie down? But if I tell you, it's only $799 a month, suddenly your brain goes, oh, that's doable. And that's the trapdoor. The dealership doesn't sell you a vehicle. They sell you a monthly number. That's why almost every conversation in a dealership eventually turns into, what do you want your payment to be? Not, what do you want to pay for the car? Not, what's the total cost of ownership? Just, what monthly number feels comfortable? Because the moment you anchor on the monthly payment, the door opens for them to stretch, bend, and manipulate everything else to make that number happen. And over the past decade, that monthly number has gotten completely unhinged. The average new car payment in the U.S. has climbed into territory that would have sounded like a comedy sketch not that long ago. Over $700 a month for the average new car. Not a Lamborghini, not a Bentley, not some exotic supercar, just a regular new car purchased by a regular person. And trucks and SUVs? Those numbers casually jump to $900, $1,000, even $1,200 plus. Every month. For 6, 7, sometimes 8 years? Think about that. That's not a car payment. That's a second rent payment. That's a childcare bill. That's student loan money. That's, we could have taken a vacation and actually enjoyed life money. But here's what makes this story so interesting. Most of these buyers aren't millionaires in disguise. They're not crypto kings or trust fund kids or lottery winners hiding their ticket. They're teachers, nurses, mechanics, office workers, retail employees, people with normal incomes. Which means the real answer is simple and brutal. They're not affording it. They're financing the illusion of affording it. And there's a whole system built to make that illusion feel painless at the exact moment you're sitting there in a dealership chair with a free coffee, some limited-time offer pressure, and a salesperson saying, "No rush, take your time," while also quietly making sure you don't leave. Step 1 is stretching the loan until it stops looking scary. Remember when car loans were 36 months, maybe 48 if you really stretched? Those days are basically extinct. Now the default is 72 months, and it's becoming normal to see 84 months. Some lenders even flirt with 96 or 120 months. A 10-year car loan. 10 years! That's not a car loan. That's a lifestyle contract. That's longer than some marriages. And people agree to these terms because it makes the payment look reasonable. A $60,000 vehicle over 4 years might look like a heart attack. You want me to pay how much per month? But stretch it out to 7 or 8 years, and suddenly it drops into the "okay, I can swing" that zone. And that's the whole point. Because your brain is wired to focus on what hurts right now. It's not wired to calculate the opportunity cost of your future self quietly screaming in the background. Here's what most people don't absorb while sitting under fluorescent dealership lights with a salesperson smiling like a friendly therapist. Longer term means more interest and more time trapped. You're not just lowering the monthly payment, you're increasing the total cost, sometimes by thousands, sometimes by tens of thousands, and even worse, by year 5 or 6, there's a good chance you owe more than the vehicle is worth. That's negative equity. That's the "you can't sell it without paying to escape" zone. That's where a car stops being transportation and starts being a financial anchor tied to your ankle. And once you're in negative equity, the next steps get even more dangerous. Step 2 is the 0% APR magic trick. You've seen it. 0% APR for qualified buyers. Sounds like free money, right? Like you're hacking the system. Like you just outsmarted the bank. But the part that doesn't make it into the commercial is that 0% financing is often a trade. Usually you either pay a higher price for the vehicle and get the promo rate, or you take a discount and accept a normal interest rate. Dealers rarely give you both. It's like someone saying, "I'll give you free delivery," but they raised the price of the pizza by $8. And those qualified buyers are often the same people with excellent credit and strong income who could buy the car responsibly anyway. For everyone else, interest rates can get spicy, especially with long terms, and even pretty decent credit can mean you're paying way more than you realize, just spread thin enough that it doesn't hurt today. Because the theme here is simple. Make tomorrow's pain invisible. Hide the real cost in the future. Make it someone else's problem. And the someone else is you, 6 months from now when your budget starts squeaking and you're like, "Why do I feel broke even though I work full time?" Step 3 is the trade-in trap, aka the hamster wheel. This is the engine behind the madness, the machine behind the machine. Here's how it works. Someone buys a vehicle with a long loan. A few years pass. They want something newer. Or maintenance starts. Or they're bored. Or they see a new model with bigger screens and cooler headlights, and suddenly their current car feels like a piece of junk, even though it runs perfectly fine. So they go to trade it in, but they owe more than it's worth. So what happens? They roll the remaining balance, negative equity, into the next loan, meaning they're now paying for the new vehicle and the leftover debt from the last one. And if you're thinking, that sounds illegal, nope, it's extremely legal. It's also extremely common, and this cycle can repeat again and again. It's like upgrading your phone every year, except instead of paying an extra $20 a month, you're stacking thousands of dollars of debt into a machine that's actively losing value every day it exists. Dealers love it because it creates a customer who can't easily leave. Once you're stuck in negative equity, you're basically in a subscription plan. Auto payment premium plus. You track the monthly payment because looking at the total debt is too depressing. And you start making decisions based on survival, not strategy. But the weirdest part, we've normalized it. If someone told you they spend $1,200 a month on coffee, you'd stage an intervention. If they said $1,200 a month on clothes, you'd be like, hey, do you need help? But when it's a car payment, people shrug and say, well, you need reliable transportation, as if the only two options are a $1,200 per month luxury truck or walking barefoot through a blizzard while carrying your groceries in a sack. This normalization didn't happen by accident. Cars aren't sold as transportation anymore. They're sold as identity, status, success, security, and the idea that you deserve it. That commercial where the truck climbs a mountain isn't selling you a vehicle. It's selling you a fantasy version of yourself, even if your off-roading is hopping a curb near the grocery store. The SUV ad showing a perfect family smiling on a beach isn't selling you a car. It's selling you the promise that if you buy this vehicle, your life becomes happier, cleaner, more put together. And when the purchase becomes emotional, the math gets benched. Logic gets locked in the trunk. But okay, how do they actually pay it? Because even with psychology, $900 a month still has to come from somewhere. This is where it gets creative. A lot of people don't afford the payment. They rearrange their entire life around it. They move into smaller apartments, delay moving out, keep roommates longer, cut vacations, eat cheaper, stop saving, skip emergency funds, postpone medical appointments, and push everything else into the background so the truck can sit in the driveway, looking impressive. You'll see someone driving a $70,000 vehicle while living like they're in survival mode, like having a Rolex while eating instant noodles. Technically possible, but you start to wonder who the purchase was really for. Some people take on side gigs specifically to pay for the vehicle, delivering food, driving rideshare, picking up weekend shifts, sometimes using the same expensive vehicle that created the need for extra work. That's not owning a car. That's the car owning you. Then there's the debt juggling act. People put fuel, repairs, maintenance, and even insurance on credit cards just to free up cash for the monthly loan. That's like using a flamethrower to light a candle. Sure, it works, but why are we doing this? You're basically saying, let me pay 20% interest on gas so I can keep paying 6% interest on the truck. That's not a plan. That's desperation disguised as budgeting. And in the most dangerous cases, people start borrowing against future wealth, personal loans, home equity, retirement withdrawals, 401k loans, just to keep the illusion alive. That's when transportation becomes a long-term wealth destroyer, because now you're not just paying for a car, you're paying for the car, plus the interest, plus the opportunity cost, plus the damage to your future financial stability. Even if the payment is manageable, people pretend the hidden costs don't exist. Insurance on a $60,000 truck isn't the same as insurance on a $15,000 sedan. Add comprehensive, collision, gap insurance, and everything else strongly recommended, and it can easily hit $200 plus a month. For households with multiple vehicles, $500 plus monthly insurance bills happen fast. And a lot of people don't realize that until they're staring at the quote like, "Wait, that's per month?" Maintenance is another reality check. Modern vehicles are complicated, especially trucks and SUVs loaded with tech. Repairs aren't a couple $100 anymore. Brakes can run close to 4 figures. Transmission work can be thousands. Major engine problems can be brutal. And here's the worst part. People who stretch for the payment often don't have an emergency fund for repairs, because every extra dollar is already committed to the monthly loan. So the repair becomes more debt. Credit cards, personal loans, buy now, pay later for car parts. And now the manageable payment starts a spiral. Fuel is the monthly punchline too. Real-world miles per gallon is often worse than advertised. Gas fluctuates. Commutes are commutes. And it's not hard to spend $300 to $400 a month on fuel with a truck. Sometimes more. Suddenly your payment isn't $900. It's $900 plus insurance, plus fuel, plus maintenance. Transportation becomes a budget category that starts bullying everything else in your life. Savings, investing, travel, hobbies, even your peace of mind. And now let's run the math nobody wants to run. The math that dealers conveniently never put on a big poster in the showroom. Imagine someone buys a $55,000 truck with a 7-year loan at 6% interest. Their payment lands around that not terrifying number, say $800 a month. Feels fine, right? But zoom out. Over 7 years, they pay around $67,000 on the loan alone. Add insurance at $250 a month, and that's another $21,000. Fuel at $350 a month is about $29,000. Maintenance and repairs over 7 years can easily be $15,000, often more. Now you're over $130,000 spent on transportation. And at the end, they own a truck that might be worth $15,000 if everything goes right. They spent $130,000 to end up with a $15,000 asset. That's not a purchase. That's wealth evaporation with heated seats, cup holders, and a backup camera that beeps at you like it's judging your life choices. And the kicker? If they invested even just the monthly payment instead, something like $800 a month into a basic index fund over the same period, they could build real wealth instead of building negative equity and calling it success. But here's why this is so hard to talk people out of. Once someone commits to a huge payment, they don't just feel financially attached, they feel personally attached. The vehicle becomes proof they made it, proof they're successful, proof they work hard, proof they're not behind in life. So when someone suggests downsizing, it doesn't feel like financial advice. It feels like an insult. It feels like, You don't deserve nice things. And the industry knows this. That's why dealerships don't talk about total cost of ownership, opportunity cost, depreciation, or long-term financial impact. They talk about monthly payment. They talk about how it feels. They talk about, this is you. They talk about, you deserve it. They talk about, what do you want to be at per month? Because if you focus on the total cost, the spell breaks. So are people actually affording these trucks? Here's the conclusion. Nobody wants to say out loud, most people aren't affording them. They're stretching, stacking, rolling debt forward, and reorganizing their lives around a monthly payment that makes them feel like a different person. They're not buying a vehicle. They're buying a story. And they're paying for that story for the next 7 to 10 years. So the next time you see that brand new $70,000 truck in the fast lane, remember, for all you know, the driver is one unexpected repair away from panic, eating cereal for dinner, and pretending it's fine because the seats are heated and the dashboard is a touchscreen. And suddenly that paid-off, reliable car in your driveway starts looking less like settling and more like freedom. Freedom to save, freedom to invest, freedom to breathe. And if you want more breakdowns like this, real money psychology, real-world examples, and the stuff dealerships hope you never calculate, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. It costs you nothing. It helps the channel a ton, and it'll keep you one step ahead of the next, too good to be true financial trap.